let's talk about the upward thrust. Upward thrust is a force equal in magnitude and opposite in direction to the weight of the fluid displaced by the object. And it is given by the equation F thrust equal to rho Vg. Here, rho is equal to the density of the fluid, and V is equal to the volume of the object immersed in fluid, and G is of course the acceleration due to gravity. So for the volume, we have to consider whether the object is completely immersed in water or partly immersed in water. If the object is completely immersed in water, then yeah, we have to consider the whole volume. However, if the object is only partly submerged in water, then we only have to consider this submerged volume. So let's move to the next one. Let's consider a wooden block in water. If we place a wooden block in water, and in our demonstration, let's ignore the drag force. So we have two major forces, the F thrust and weight acting on the wooden block. So in the first figure, there's the F thrust added by the surrounding fluid on the wooden block and is going upwards. And then there's the gravity acting on this wooden block, and this one is going downwards. In the first one, the F thrust is equal to the weight, so there is no net force acting on this wooden block. That's why this block will remain to float at this level. For the next one, let's do something different. Let's push the block in water. Okay, so if we push the block in water, this time the block will completely submerge in water. So this volume will be greater than in the first case. So yeah, the F thrust will become greater. However, the weight of the block it remains the same. And then when it is in water, let's say at first there was a push, and when it is in water, let's remove this pushing force. So as soon as we remove this pushing force, we know there's only F thrust and weight left on this block. So the F thrust is bigger than the weight. That means there is the net force acting upwards. That's why the block will accelerate upwards. All right, let's move to the last one. This time, let's consider a metal block in water. So if we put a metal block in water, there are like two major forces, the F thrust and the weight. The F thrust is acting upwards and the weight is downwards as usual. However, in this case, the metal block is heavier than the wooden block. That means the weight of the metal block will be greater than the F thrust. Then there is the net force acting downwards. That's why this metal block will accelerate downwards and sink maybe to the bottom. That's it. Thanks for watching.